Welcome, everybody. What does Mark say? I've let you all cascade in. I will be hosting today. I'm very excited to be speaking with all of you. Some of what I'm going to talk about today, you may have heard in little snippets and pieces, um, just on calls and one-on-ones and social media training when you onboarded. Um, but I want to start by saying, I am the type of person that when I become interested in something, I sort of obsess about it and I kind of keep adding to my knowledge about it over time. And I'm happy to say that what I'm not obsessed with is social media as a whole, just because I think there's a lot of good and a lot of bad that can be said about social media as a place. But what I am obsessed with is media, how we consume it, how we create it, and how we use it effectively. Basically, how we communicate with each other, both in this way, talking to one another, but also, in content. And so today, what I want to talk about and what we're going to be covering are a couple of things. One, we're going to be talking about how social media was used and how it has evolved and how it's currently being used. We're going to talk about how people consume media in general. We're going to talk about finding your audience, your people on the internet. We're going to talk about earning their attention. And we're going to talk about ways that you might be able to leverage that attention to either form relationships or what we will just be calling it in general, build community. So, first and foremost, I want to encourage all of you. There will be times where I ask questions. I encourage you to throw me a bone and answer those questions and jump in and help me out. And so yeah, let's get right into it. So when social media was created, I'm not going to give a history lesson, I swear. But when it was first created, I actually happened to be at a very interesting moment when it created. I was like a little too young. I wasn't in college yet, which sounds funny now because now you have like 10-year-olds on TikTok. But I wasn't in college yet. When Facebook was started, it didn't let you in unless you had a college email address. I don't know if any of you recall this. It was only for people in college. You had MySpace. MySpace was already starting to wane a little bit. Everyone was friends with Tom, if you remember MySpace. But Facebook was coming into it was starting to hit its stride. And I remember when I first got into college, like one of the first things I did was sign up for Facebook. I was very excited to go on Facebook. And the way that we consumed social media back then, or the way we used it, was the same way that college kids are using whiteboards on their dorm room door, right? It's like, hey, stop by your dorm, party later, call me. Hey, I thought you were cute. Here's my number, call me. It was just a lot of like, I want to engage with you. I want to make friends. I want to have conversations. I want to be part of things. And that impulse in us never goes away. But as a tool, that's what social media was used for back in the day. Now, how we use social media has changed dramatically. There's so much noise, right? There's everyone's talking, everyone's a brand, everyone wants to be an influencer. You ask, I forget the exact numbers of the poll, but you ask like kids under a certain age right now what they want to be when they grow up. They just say instant, like famous, like blanket, like famous, an influencer for what? I don't know, whatever. I just want to be an influencer. I want to be known and seen. So having these actual conversations, having engagement with people is much more difficult because everyone's being bombarded with people trying to get their attention, trying to get something from them, wanting their attention, trying to earn their attention. And so now the way that we use social media is that we consume it. We just scroll through. We take it in. We find things we like. You stop on a video, you like it, you eat it up mentally, and then maybe you hit the like button and then you move on. And that is the majority of social media experience nowadays. In fact, if you look like the posts that get a ton of comments, and I'm not talking about like big famous people and whatever, but the posts that get like go viral randomly are ones that speak to like our most base and deep down impulses, right? Someone will put out a political post and both sides swarm and into the comments. Someone puts out a post going, "Hey, my son's being bullied at school, but it's his birthday and no one came to his birthday. Can you wish him a happy birthday?" And suddenly it goes viral on Twitter, and hundreds of thousands of people are like, "Keep your chin up, Chuck. You're gonna be all right," or whatever. I don't know why there's a little boy named Chuck. It's kind of funny. Um, so that is what it is now. Like now it is this different thing. And we consume and we move on. um how many of you, does anyone here, does that resonate with anybody? Is there anyone that's like, yes, that's how I use social media? Because I know that's definitely how I use social media. I use social media to read things about the Philadelphia 76ers, and every so often I retweet one of them. Like that's the entirety of my social media diet. David, I saw you nodding. Sorry to call you out, but does that ring true for you in how you use social media?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think that
Awesome.
connects pretty well.
Right. And so we're taking in social media, we're watching these things, they're getting stored in our brain or going in one ear and out the other. And that's sort of how we're interacting with it. Now we're going to put a pin in that for a minute and move now to how people consume media in general. I promise the this lesson will be over quickly and we'll get to the good stuff. People consume media in all the ways that they consume it. The one thing is universally true. They consume it subjectively. The way that you experience it is different than the way I experience it, even if we both love it. My wife and I were having an interesting conversation last night because we're starting to be concerned that our daughter, who's going to be 2 in November, is colorblind or has some type of issue with that. And I know I mean, look, this could easily be one of those things where like you and you and your co-parent, your spouse, or whatever, sit there and talk about this, and it's fine. Like 3 months from now, like we could just be overreacting. But she is just having a very hard time with identifying colors. Like she doesn't know what different colors are. She says them confidently. Like she'll hold this up and go red, and you're like, nope, way off. But it got us talking into this conversation about like we both agree. Like I call this black. Does everyone here call this pen black? Yeah. We have no way of knowing that we're seeing the same color. We just both call this color black. The way Katie sees this color, the way Jamie sees this color, I have no way of knowing if he's seeing what I call black. Do you get what I'm saying? Katie could be seeing this. Sorry to keep calling you out, Katie. You're right in front of my camera. Katie could be seeing what I would call red. And there's no way to know, but she just calls it black. It's completely subjective. We just agree. Like, okay, this is black. Yes, it's black. Okay, cool. And there's no way for us to dive deeper and figure out what that means. And so, because we take in everything subjectively, it is impossible to create content that's going to resonate with everyone, or be seen the same way by everyone, or be experienced the same way by everyone. Instead, just like when you were a kid in school, your goal with social media should be to find your people. The people that see this pen as close to the way you see it as possible. Right? Not to close off your ability to expand your mind, blah, blah, blah. We're not talking about any of that stuff. But just because if you're going to create a piece of content and it's going to cut through the noise and earn someone's attention, it has to be something that speaks to them and that resonates with them and that is worthy of their very limited and expensive time. Even though we don't see it that way, we're just scrolling and whatever. So uh creating content that is very specific is what becomes important, and it's one of the issues that I've run into as your beloved content strategist here at Princeton Mortgage. When I'm creating the social nudges, I have to keep them kind of as vague as possible, right? I try to get specific toward realtors or toward borrowers, but the way that I would talk to a realtor or borrower is different than the way Dan Dixon would talk to a realtor or borrower, is different than the way than Ken Jordan talks to realtors or borrowers. And so getting specific becomes super, super important. Any questions on any of that to start with? Any comments? concerns, threats? No? All right, fantastic. Someone's like quickly trying to unmute to threaten. Um, so the first step in how we want to use social media, in how you can use social media to try to further the selling system's inner message, which is to find realtors that are good culture fits, which is to get in flow with them and create a relationship with them. Do I have that right? Is that basically what you're trying to do with realtors on the day to day? Form real relationships with them, stay in flow with them. So I know that obviously the market is all over the place right now, and it's a difficult time, and so everyone's looking for like a way, to use different tools at their disposal to increase business or increase their relationships with realtors. And obviously, we have social media in the selling system, right? You meet someone, you connect with them on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, and you start them on the 13 and 30. And I'm not changing any of that, of course. That is the gold standard, what everyone should be doing. But if you are looking to use social media to find more people, have more collisions, I think this is the best bet on how to do it. So the first thing you need to do is find your people. You can look at this a lot of different ways. You can look at it like if we were sitting and having a marketing meeting and talking about buyer personas, right? What age are they? Roughly where are they from? How old are they? What life? Where are they in life right now? Are they married? Not married? Do they have kids? Do they not have kids? Do they go out and party all the time? And you like to party all the time, and it would be a perfect mix. Are they sitting at home reading a book? What are they doing right now? And then going even deeper, what are they worried about? What are they excited about? What needs do they have? And so once you start, so you can do it that way. You can also start by looking at yourself or looking at your friend group and the people that you're closest with. What is it about you and them that mesh? You could look at your like top realtor partners, the ones that you've known for 10 years, that you like go to events in their life, go to kids' birthdays and stuff. What is it about them that you connect with? And then once you have that information, you're going to want to try to find those people on social media. So ways that we can do that. The first is kind of more of a broad approach. You can start by just connecting with as many people that fit as many of those parameters as possible. If I go over here real quick to where are you at? To LinkedIn. Share my screen. All right, so if we're seeing here, I've searched in this bar real estate agent. Now this pops up. I would click over to people. Now I'm just seeing people. I would focus on, you can do a lot of different things. You can focus on their location, right? Maybe you only want to work with real estate agents in Florida. That's where you're based and that's what you're doing. Maybe there's a certain company that you want to focus on, right? You're like, oh man, EXP Realty. I don't know what that is, but there we go. You can focus on how connected to them you already are. People you don't know would be 3+. People that know people that you know, there's that middle ground, are second. And then you can add filters here. Throw things in there. Maybe you went to University of Central Florida and you really want to only go, or University of South Florida, and you only want to go after those people. You want to use that connection. It's very important to you. You're a huge fill in the blank team fan. I don't know what teams. If anyone wants to help me out, feel free to jump in. So, yeah. You can thanks, man. You can also maybe you're really focused or like a student of a certain type, a certain person. I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk guy. Maybe you want only to deal with people that also love Gary V. And now you have this list of people. You can start connecting with them. I'm going to connect with Christina. She'd be like, who is this guy? What is going on? Why is he connected with me? I don't know this guy. Right? So you can start there, but in reality, at some point, you're going to have to start looking at their profiles and getting a sense of like who they are and use that to make your judgment on. Even if you only come away with like, all right, these are the 20 people that I want to take time to get to know online. And I'm going to comment on their posts and I'm going to be involved in what they're talking about. And I'm going to make myself a known entity to them. Right? So finding those people. The second part is the hard part. How do we earn attention at this point? Who are some of the people that you follow, the creators you follow online or whatever, who have your attention? Will anyone jump in with like if they happen to follow a certain account, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, podcasts, whatever? Who are some of the people that you have kind of come to love, come to form a relationship with? Don't leave me hanging. You gotta help me out. I was talking with David, were you gonna say something?
I mean, there's, a lot of them, but in terms of motivation, like Jocko Willink, David Goggins, for instance, like people that pump me up in the morning. So, love their content. It's kind of no frills, just straight to the point.
What about what about their content speaks to you? Why has that content earned your attention so consistently?
Man, I think, and not don't know how to say this, articulately, but like we live in the age of like beautiful people and filters and all the stuff, and those guys, they're not doing any of that, at least to my knowledge. They could be, I don't know, they could be wearing makeup, but no, man, I like the idea of it. It's doable, right? It's not rocket science, and they just put it out there.
You like that you get the sense that they're authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And their authenticity kind of speaks to you. I think that's awesome. I was speaking with I don't want to call anybody out, not that it matters, but I was talking with two LOs yesterday, and they were talking about different, and this is actually my wife too. That's why we were talking about it. Different mom bloggers on Instagram that really speak to them. Kids Eat in Color and Big Little Feelings and all these accounts that that they connect with. And when we were talking about it, one of the general consensus was like, it makes them feel seen a little bit. Like they're talking about things that they feel that, you're not supposed to really talk about. Like every parent knows that we love our kids, and every parent knows that we also sometimes want to like just like push our kids into their bedroom and shut the door and run away as fast as we can. And both those things can be okay. Right. So it makes them feel seen and heard. What about like mortgage related content or realtor content? Are there any accounts that anyone's following that they find themselves enjoying? Any content that or type of content that's being put out there that they tend to enjoy?
I told you yesterday the one that I really like on TikTok. It's a nutter called Loan, and she's really great. I really enjoy following her.
And Hannah, I remember, but can you tell everyone like what is it again about a nutter that you like?
So she does a couple of different things. One of them is she like imitates calls with borrowers, which I think is really cool because it talks about like things that borrowers do incorrectly throughout the process, but it also educates them in how to kind of go about the process. And then she just does like little snippets of information. So like for me, I learned because then I know what people are doing incorrectly. So how to educate them on the front end so that they don't make those mistakes throughout the process.
I love that, right? So you find it funny and valuable that that she's like impersonating borrowers, but she's also giving real. So it's not just about making you laugh; it's also giving real information that helps borrowers and seems true to you. Like, oh, that's a conversation I would have.
And she'll be like, "Well, I told you not to open any new lines of credit," and they're like, "Well, I didn't. I just co-signed," and just like kind of saying like, okay, like this is how you have to explain things to borrowers because they see, black and white, but there is a little bit of a gray area there too.
Anyone else? Thank you, Hannah. Anybody else? So I think
there's really, believe it or not, there's still a wide open wide open space on TikTok for mortgage and real estate professionals. There's very, very few people that are doing it, well. So I think that there's a huge opportunity there.
I definitely agree, and I do actually want to talk, not on this call, but I want to talk TikTok and video, reels and video in general. I do think that there's a lot of room there, and I think that so when it comes to earning attention, what you kind of need to get ahead of where your target audience is, right? So what type of, if you now have this group of 20 people or 10, 15, 20 people that you're like, okay, these are realtors I could really see as culture fits. I could really see as having a long-term relationship. I've internet stalked their profile, and I know about them, and we're similar people, and I know that this is a good fit for me. How do I then create content that's going to speak to someone like them, right? And so part of it is looking at the type of content they're already interacting with. Another part of it is asking yourself, what kind of content do you want to see out there, or do you think that could be out there? And finally, and kind of the most important thing for each individual is, what type of content are you comfortable making, and how can we bridge all those together? Right? There are some people that if I said, I know for a fact that if I told Ken, hey man, I want you to make this video, here's my idea, that he'd feel comfortable doing it. Can you make a good amount of video, is my understanding. Whereas I know that there's other people that if I said, hey, I want you to create this video where you just explain what a FHA loan is for me, they would be like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not doing a video. I can't do it. There was a loan officer here that really wanted to start doing video and was like, yeah, I would love to do it, but you know how it is, Dan. It takes 4 hours. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you know how it is. It's like you got to get all dressed up, and then you start making the video, and then you hate everyone you're doing, and before you know it, it's 4 hours later. I was like, listen, man, I need you to make 2 videos and then pick the best one and put it out there and stop thinking so much. And now I see him making video, he's like jogging, making videos. Like, it's one of those things you get more comfortable with the more you do it. But yeah, so finding that really kind of thinking of it in a different way. I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about what type of content, what post should I put out? What should I talk about? What should I'm going to write a blog. What should I write a blog about? What should I make this video about? They start by going like, what can I do? What's an idea? They try to start with the idea instead of focusing on what people want to see and then working backwards. Right. So if you find that, going back to David Powell, it's like, you know what, there's a real, I know that I'm going to jive with people that are not putting on airs, are not worried about filters and this, that, and the other thing, that are just real. They come as they are, salt of the earth. That's the kind of person I relate to. It's like, then you need to be making that kind of content and putting it out there. You need to be putting out posts that are from the heart, that are exactly how you feel about certain things. You need to be creating videos that are you looking directly in the camera and giving your thoughts unencumbered and without any any fanfare and to do. Whereas other people, it's like, no, my best realty partners are driving Bugattis and taking pictures on private jets and going out to the club, and that is how I connect with them. I bring them out, we get bottle service, we all high five and hug at 3 a.m. as we go our separate ways, and then they send me loans, and that's the relationship that I'm working with these people. Those are my people. Well, then great. Like, you don't want to be putting out content that's like you with your hair all messed up because you just got out of bed and whatever. There's a certain style and shine that needs to be on your content, right? And so knowing that everyone is different, everyone's going to take things in a different way, using social media now as a way to have real conversations with people and kind of one-on-one conversations with people becomes more. Talk to, the Andrew Evans of the world. You're trying to talk to a very specific type of person, and you start creating content for that person. Now, once we start doing that, the last thing is, how do we then leverage that and build community based on that. Now, again, when I say community, I could mean one-on-one, community, like just a friendship. You could also mean like an actual community, a Facebook group or LinkedIn group or something to that nature. Could be a newsletter that you want to put out. I know that there are projects that you get obviously to put in through our department through marketing. There are things that you can do if you decided to leverage social media and to take the time to find your people and then earn their attention to try to then capture their email addresses and get closer to them. So ideas there. You have, again, I said Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups. If you see there's a space, a group of people, your tribe, your people that are out on LinkedIn, out on Facebook, out on the internet, and not coalesced around one place, you can start, inviting the people that are liking your posts and liking your content to a group, right? Create a group. Hey, this is mortgage professional, mastermind group. I'm looking for really great people in the mortgage industry, real estate industry to come together. It's a place that we can talk, we can vent, we can ask questions and share. We're not looking for leads. I'm not looking for anything from anybody. It's just a place that we can kind of all come together and have conversations. And then once you create that group, obviously you're going to need to be active within that group. But that's a great way to bring people a little bit closer to you. Another way is if you know that after, let's say you're doing, a growth tip of the week, or you're doing some type of content that is working that you recognize is helping people, or it's about different types of loans or maybe your post that you're putting out about, hey, realtor, here's a problem question that I know you're getting a lot because my realtor partners are telling me they're always getting this question. Here's the answer to it. I've given this answer to via text to 15 people this week. I'm going to put it on the internet for all of you. Well, if you have enough of those, you can then take those and create some kind of document that's almost like, what is, it shouldn't be anymore, but what is called an ebook, some type of document that you put out there that's really, it's not a book, it's like 3 pages long, but you put it out there with all of these answers in it. And then you start reaching out one-on-one to these people that have been liking your content that you've been engaging with. And you just start saying to them, hey, I have this thing, that I think you'll find really helpful. We can then use that content and send it out as part of your Saturday email or whatever else you want, ways you want to use that. But that is a way to now it's like, okay, I've done the research on who my audience is. I know who my people are. I have actual people that I'm looking at going after. I've started earning their attention. I know what content they like, what they're into, the types of videos, the types of, posts. I'm putting stuff out there. They're commenting, they're liking, I'm commenting on theirs, I'm liking theirs. I'm only spending, an hour a week on this. It doesn't have to take up a lot of your time. And now I'm inviting them in a little bit closer. Now, if you reach out online and go, there's someone who's been liking all of Ken Jordan's videos and commenting on them, and you've been responding back and having just quick little one-on-one, hey, how's it going, blah, 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 thanks for liking. Now it's not weird to reach out to them and go, hey, thanks for liking all my content. You got a couple minutes for a quick virtual coffee? I'd love to just meet you. Right? It suddenly doesn't become weird because you guys are kind of friends. That's the way it feels anyway. You're both in the industry, you know each other. Or to reach out and go, hey, I've created this document with answers to like all the questions that I've been getting asked when I put my videos out. I'd love to share it with you. Here, if you go to this website, you can download it. Or is that cool? What's your email? I'll send it to you. Right. And so now suddenly we're connected with these people. We're having we have their email address. You can put them in the 13 to 30. You've had collisions with them without actually meeting them. And while meeting them in person is always the best and preferred thing, if you can get to a place where you've gone back and forth with someone online enough, I would say that would count as a collision. Mark can disagree with me and do a retraction next meeting. Before coming here, and Andrew, I'll get to you in 1 second. Before coming here, I ran my own business, social media marketing, digital marketing, ads, everything else. Creating campaigns like this one, right? Connecting with people, warming them up, getting their email address, getting them connected with my clients. And I would use it for myself. And I got many clients starting this way. They start liking, we start talking, we're having a conversation. Hey, do you have 10 minutes? First phone call, second phone call, third phone call, leads. And so this is something I've seen work. Mr. Evans.
I need to get my thing off of mute here. Is my hand down? Nope.
There you go.
Okay. So yeah, Dan, you helped me about a year ago with video. I know that like this stuff, you've done it, you've been doing it for a long time. I really have to block out time and prep, because whoever you were referring to that said, hey, it takes 4 hours, I've got to go get a shower, do my hair, brush my teeth, put on my best dress. I get that, which is why I never did it. The other reason I didn't do it is I was afraid of how I would sound, how I would look. I look better in the mirror than I do in a picture, right? You know, like in the mirror, I turn the right way, I suck it in.
Yeah.
When people catch me in a photograph, it's always at my worst. So anyway, my best critic is my wife. And she told me when I first started doing videos, I was doing this, you know, and she said, you're making me seasick. And so I looked at the video and I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I need to just keep my butt planted in my seat, you know, looking here. I've done a few videos. The first one or two were difficult. I do tend to write a script. I keep them short. I've done more. I don't do them all the time, but where it's helped me at, and I wanted to give this example to encourage people, and then I did have a question for you.
Please.
So I've been attending the, there's a church I've been attending for about 24 years. Very often, not so much now, but in the past, and this is something that my videos on Facebook have helped to fix to a degree. I'd be talking to a friend in the cafe at our church, sipping a cup of coffee, eating a donut, just asking them how their week has been. And they would say, yeah, it was a great week. Really busy though. My wife and I, we just moved into our new house. And as soon as they said that, gut punch, I'm in the mortgage business. Why didn't they use me? But I'm happy for them. And I would communicate that. We'd keep talking and they say, hey, Andrew, by the way, what do you do for a living? And I didn't want to tell them because I really was happy for them. I was disappointed I didn't get the loan.
Sure.
But they asked the question. So I said, well, I happen to be in the mortgage business. At that point, they felt like a shoe. And then they're like, oh my goodness, I would have used you had I known you were in the mortgage business. You know, when I go to church, I don't bring my business cards. I don't wear my Princeton branded stuff. I just go to church. So that is what prompted me to do the video, because I wanted a way to communicate to the masses, at least the masses that I know. You know, I've got a couple thousand Facebook friends, but a lot of them are out of state, but some of them are local. I needed a way just to remind them what I do for a living. And so the videos have helped. I have gotten more people with the, I coach youth soccer. They're my Facebook friends, but it hasn't replaced my Ford conversations. It has not replaced texting and all of the tasks I need to do, but it's reinforced them.
Yeah.
And I'm still not good at it, but I do appreciate you because you did help me a good bit with kind of pushing me over the fence when I was straddling that. And I would like to encourage anybody that if you have the same fear, like you're just afraid of what you look like, well, just do it. And you know, because you're not surprising anybody. Everybody knows what you look like and sound like. So they're probably going to be okay with whatever you do.
Going off that, and I know you have a question too, Andrew, but just real quick going off that, I wasn't gonna take it in this direction, but I think since you brought it up, it's really important. Is like, so I remember this conversation we had very clearly, and I remember this is something I've relayed to many LOs, throughout the company, is that I've started calling it like shaking the tree. It's like your Facebook or whatever social media you use as personal. I understand entirely not wanting it to become a place where you just talk about business, just about marketing. I don't think anyone would suggest that. But what does need to happen, in my opinion, and I think Andrew, you're the proof of this, is that there needs to be consistent reminders to the people that already know, like, and trust you what you do, because we have a tendency to think of ourselves, and this I definitely fall victim to this, to think of ourselves as like the star of like the show, like the lead of the story, right? Because it's all from our point of view, we are. And so the example that I use all the time is when I was running my company. I have a very close knit, big Irish family. Everyone's in each other's business all the time and knows everything about each other. And I've literally have like 35 cousins. Like it's nuts. And I was at a family party. I was talking to my cousin Robbie, who knows everything about me and everything that I do. And I go, Robbie, how's it going? He's like, good man. How are you? I'm like, oh, good. Like business is going really, really well. He's like, right. You do digital marketing and social media, right? I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, hold on one second. And in my mind, he like reached into a wall of people and pulled his friend Kenny into the picture. Kenny, I've known my entire life. We've all known Kenny. Kenny's been at holidays, been everywhere. And he goes, Kenny owns a roofing company, has been looking for a digital marketing guy for like 6 months. And Kenny's like, yeah, I can't find anybody that I like. Kenny ended up being my client for 3 years. Now, Robbie, my cousin, knew what I did. Right? If you said to him, hey, what does your cousin Danny do for a living? He'd be like, he does social media marketing. But when his friend for 6 months was complaining about not being able to find a good marketing person, he never once thought to recommend me. Right? And it just shows that like people aren't thinking about other people and what they do in the way that we want them to, right? And so there are all these untapped referrals out there. And I think Andrew, you've been proof positive of that. It's like I remember, I think the first one you got, if I remember, it was like the first video you posted or second video you posted, wasn't it like your college roommate's daughter or something needed a loan and they connected you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? There's something like that. And so it's like that is the value of doing video and putting it out there, even with among your circle of influence specifically. It's not going to maybe change your life or lead to a referral partner, but it's like shaking the tree. Like every so often an apple will drop, and so I think that's great. I think that I appreciate you sharing that. I highly recommend everyone do that. And then you said you had a question, Andrew?
Yeah, I did. And by the way, I've been doing the videos for about a year. I have not gotten 1,000 borrowers from it. I've gotten maybe half a dozen. But it was I got 6. And 6 is cool. It's 6 I wouldn't have, and maybe next year I'll get 12.
100%.
So my question was, and I know this is probably the wrong time but man, I would love I have on maybe another day down the road, a YouTube channel. I'd like to explore that.
Sure.
And then because that might you mentioned like when you're targeting finding your people, and I thought a YouTube channel, if you could do it there and then put it on LinkedIn, or then the other thing on Zoom group meetings. One of my biggest fears with that, I would like to do that. But you can on a Zoom, if you host a Zoom meeting with a group, the group can tell how many people are on there, right?
They can, yes.
So you want to get enough people where it's just not you and one other person.
It's true. But I would say, look, I would push back just like I did with the video and say, if it starts with you, one other person, and that one other person becomes your friend, and then they invite 2 other people, and now it's 4, and then 4 turns to 8, and 8 turns to 12. And also in the meantime, 2 of those people have become referral partners that you've like gone to dinner with and are friends with. And they say, I just think that momentum breeds more momentum. And the more that you put out there and the more that you're willing to extend yourself, the more likely it is that it's going to lead to something. I know that we only have 5 minutes left. I want to just throw out that, but I'm definitely into that, Andrew, and I'd actually like to do another sales training about video specifically. So that should be something, one-on-one we can talk about your YouTube channel, but it's something I want to talk to everybody about. Does anyone have any other questions about this or anecdotes, connections, anything they want to throw in? All right, so I will say in closing, just a recap. People are consuming media in a new way, right? They take it in, they consume, they're looking for things that kind of resonate with them, and they ignore everything else. The problem with content is it's subjective, and what you find interesting is different than what I find interesting. And so you need to find the people that find what things interesting in a similar way to you. So you need to find your people, go out there, take some time and actually find people that like, man, I could see that being a referral partner, or better yet, I could see that being a friend. This person I could see being friends with. What it is that they are already giving their attention to, and try to create content that could earn their attention in that similar fashion. And then once you have enough people that you're talking to, you can start leveraging that community to try to get them a little bit closer to that 13 to 30 or whatever, right? Hey, can we hop on, a quick call, have some coffee, get to know each other. Do you want to join this group? I've created this document just for you, or this video just for someone like you. I'd love to send it to you. Can you give me your thoughts on it before I put it out? I really trust your instincts. Those types of things can start forming real relationships with people without you ever having to leave your house. Now, again, I can't stress this enough. Go to open houses, do all the things, the selling system, you know what to do. But I'm just saying that this is a potential, another avenue, if you're willing to invest a little time into it, that could lead to those types of conversations. I will give you your last 3 minutes back. I really, really appreciate your time today. I hope you found this helpful. Please remember to fill out the Upward feedback survey. Give me some feedback, help me become better. And happy selling, everybody. I got to say it like Mark does. Bye.